Understanding this feels like a cheat code for, I don't know, a marriage spat or a boardroom fight.
The Love Map. How Epstein, Deloitte, and Match.com exploited the science of attraction. Oh, team. We have learned a lot about Jeffrey Epstein in these past couple weeks. We're seeing things that the Gen Pop would have found way too far-fetched for even the wildest conspiracy theory just a couple months ago. Real talk, I remember about 15 years ago, my little brother was telling me about a theory where powerful people were being flown to a private island to be video recorded doing immoral acts for leverage. I laughed. Called him crazy. Look at him, child. Now here we are, watching this whole thing unfold on justice.gov. My awakening was gradual, and over time I grew to expect some of this. We live in a fallen world run by corrupt psychopaths. It's not going to be good. One thing that caught me off guard, however, Epstein's obsession with the psychology of love. Granted, it makes sense. He cared deeply about power and manipulating those around him. To do that effectively, he had to understand the human operating system. And that's where Dr. Fisher comes in. Jeffrey was deeply enmeshed with the leading love scientist, Dr. Helen Fisher. Her work on biological temperaments is core framework that was utilized by corporations like Match.com, Neurocolors, Deloitte. But why was Epstein so interested in the psychology of attraction? As we explore Dr. Fisher's framework, its impact in the business world, and its decades-long connection to the world's most famous kid diddler, the reasons become chillingly clear. Join me today as we look at this love map that was used by Match.com to create romance, Deloitte to close deals, and Epstein to create leverage and sociopathic manipulation. The biological origins of personality. The age-old question, nature versus nurture. Perhaps surprisingly, academic psychology has reached general consensus here. They know the answer, guys. It's a 50-50 split. About 50% of your temperament is hard-coded at birth. But why do these different personalities exist at all? Like the answer to so many genetic questions, because it's adaptive. A successful community needs a range of perspectives, innovation, stability, action, compassion to survive. Nature unlocks this range by disposing individuals to different psychological modes at birth. But what's actually inheritable here? Stated simply, the manners in which you prefer to observe and decide. There are 4 primary flavors of each, giving us an assortment of 16 default modes. Dr. Helen Fisher's breakthrough. We've all seen the tests. MBTI, Enneagram, the Big Five. Well, there's wisdom here. Dr. Fisher wanted to move away from these surveys. She wanted measurable biomarkers. Through extensive fMRI testing and biological tracking, she found 4 neurochemicals that correlate cleanly with the 4 human temperaments.
Today, we're digging into something different.
Something much deeper.
The Fisher Temperament Inventory. And this is not about your habits. It's about the actual wiring of your brain.
It's a huge shift in thinking. The whole model comes from Helen Fisher, who is a biological anthropologist. And her argument is, look, we should stop looking at adjectives to define personality.
We should look at what?
At neurochemistry. The whole mission here is to understand 4 specific neural systems that basically act as a biological scaffold for who you are.
So instead of being an extrovert, because you said you like parties, you have a certain temperament because of a chemical signature in your head.
Precisely. Fisher argues that temperament is actually an evolutionary adaptation. We're talking about 4 key chemical systems: dopamine, serotonin, testosterone, and then the estrogen and oxytocin complex.
And these aren't just like background noise in our brains.
Not at all. They drive who you love, how you lead, everything.
Understanding this feels like a cheat code for, I don't know, a marriage spat or a boardroom fight.
Testosterone, the director, analytical, direct, and system-oriented. Estrogen, the negotiator, intuitive, empathetic, and big picture. Dopamine, the pioneer, novelty-seeking, creative, and energetic. And the builder, social, cautious, and detail-oriented. These denote preferences, not competency. You can be capable of a trait that isn't your default, but it's going to cost you more cognitive energy.
Okay, so let's get into these suites of traits. It starts with the dopamine system. She calls this one the explorer.
Right.
Looking at the notes, this isn't just about being a thrill seeker, is it? It feels deeper.
It is, yeah. In the brain, dopamine and norepinephrine, they run the reward circuit.
Yeah.
So explorers are really defined by their novelty seeking, their curiosity.
I just crave the new.
They crave the new. It's high energy, sure, but it's also cognitive flexibility. These are the people generating ideas a mile a minute.
And then on the flip side, you have the builder. That one's driven by serotonin. So if the explorer is the gas pedal, this sounds more like the brakes.
Kind of like the steering wheel. Think of them as the stabilizers of society. This system is all about calmness, self-regulation, and following social norms. Builders are the guardians of tradition. They're risk-averse, but not because they're afraid.
But because
Because they are chemically wired to preserve the community, to keep things safe and stable.
then we have the director, which is linked to the testosterone system.
Yeah,
I'm guessing this is where we get the analytical and tough-minded folks.
that's the one. And it's really important to remember everyone has testosterone, so don't get hung up on gender just yet.
Right.
Directors are just brilliant at systems thinking, rule-based logic. They're decisive because they focus on objective facts and they kind of strip away the emotional noise to solve the problem.
Which sounds like the dead opposite of the last type, the negotiator.
Completely. The negotiator is driven by the estrogen and oxytocin complex. This is your pro-social type.
Pro-social meaning.
They excel at reading emotional cues, at thinking holistically. It's all driven by what she calls mammalian bonding. They don't just see the facts, they see the web of relationships connecting all the facts.
Now, here's the part that actually blew my mind.
The algorithm of attraction. One of Fisher's key findings is that each temperament is consistently attracted to a specific counterpart. Let me repeat. One of Fisher's key findings is that each temperament is consistently attracted to a specific counterpart.
And Fisher didn't just, observe couples holding hands. She took a completely bottom-up approach.
What does that mean exactly?
Bottom-up. She put people into fMRI scanners. She was mapping the actual neurochemistry behind the feelings, not just the behavior. She was looking at the ancient evolutionary machinery. She has data from over 30,000 daters.
Yeah, and the romance data shows these two really clear laws of attraction. First, you have homophily.
Similarity.
Yeah.
Like attracts like.
Exactly. Explorers want other explorers. They need someone who matches that dopamine energy. And builders, well, they want other builders, someone who respects the rules.
But then you get to the directors and negotiators. And that's where the whole opposites attract thing comes in.
That's it. It's complementarity. The high testosterone directors are just overwhelmingly drawn to the high estrogen negotiators, and vice versa. It's a perfect balancing act.
Directors and negotiators are magnetically attracted to their opposites. Pioneers and builders are attracted to others of their own kind. While that looks like a split between opposites attract and birds of a feather, if you zoom in one level deeper, you see that even pioneers and builders are seeking opposites in their observation style. The TLDR is this. When looking for love, we subconsciously find individuals with a complementary cognitive profile. When the two opposites fuse, they become a more holistic unit with a more objective worldview. Match.com and Deloitte. The science was commercialized immediately. Fisher used this for Chemistry.com, a Match.com website. Here, she paired people based on biological compatibility rather than just shared hobbies. The testimonials and success rate was massive. Then came Deloitte and business chemistry. These are the same four types, renamed as pioneers, guardians, drivers, and integrators, to teach employees hunching and flexing. This is the ability to guess a client's biological type and adjust your own behavior to create that instant rapport. In business, it's called influence. In Epstein's world, it was called grooming.
Okay, that explains a lot. But let's move from the bar to the boardroom. How does this help you win a client?
So this is where Deloitte's business chemistry comes in. They adapted this science, and they built two key skills around it: hunching and flexing.
Hunching and flexing.
Yeah, hunching is basically just developing a hypothesis. You look for clues. Is their office neat? Do they talk about data or feelings? And you guess their primary color.
And then you flex.
Then you flex. You consciously change your communication style to match what their brain actually needs to hear. I think most of us know the golden rule: treat others how you want to be treated. But that can backfire here, can't it?
It fails completely. If you're a charismatic explorer, you love big, spontaneous ideas. But if you talk to a builder that way, a serotonin dominant type, you'll just terrify them.
Because they need details. They need a plan.
They need a process. So the platinum rule is do unto others as they would have done unto themselves. You have to speak their chemical language, not yours. There was that great case study about a consultant at a Big Four firm. They were pitching a client who they realized was a strong red, a
Right.
director.
And the consultant noticed this person saw small talk as just inefficient, a waste of time.
Yeah.
So they scrapped their whole relationship building intro and pivoted straight to hard data and bottom line results.
And it worked.
They won a multi-million-dollar account because they stopped speaking their own language and started speaking the clients.
It's not just for sales, though. There was that example of the construction company trying to improve safety.
A fascinating mismatch. Safety is an inherently blue task. It requires rules, structure, checklists. But their crews were full of yellows.
Risk takers.
Exactly. You can't just tell a dopamine-driven brain to be careful. So management had to build physical systems, real barriers, to force a blue environment onto a yellow workforce.
Epstein's Invader strategy. Epstein's interest went beyond simple attraction. He was a major donor to the Program for Evolutionary Dynamics at Harvard. Program for Evolutionary Dynamics, PED. He was obsessed with the concept of the invader, a biological or mathematical strategy where a single actor enters a stable system and disrupts it for their own gain. By mastering the love map, Epstein could identify which button to push for any target. He wasn't looking for love, he was looking for the entry point to a person's psyche to create dependency and leverage.
But here's the key insight for you.
Go on.
He didn't just want to study the code, he wanted to hack it. And that gets us to the concept of the invader.
This was the part that, it really stuck with me. He was funding Martin Nowak at Harvard.
Right, at the Program for Evolutionary Dynamics, they study how cooperation evolves.
But Epstein wasn't trying to learn how to cooperate.
No, not at all. He was studying the rules so he could break them.
In evolutionary theory, an invader, or a cheat, is an organism that gets into a cooperative system and just exploits the altruism of others for its own gain.
And he saw himself as the ultimate invader.
He did. He wasn't failing to be moral. In his mind, he was succeeding at being a parasite.
And he used reciprocal altruism, basically weaponized generosity, to do it. He'd give this unencumbered funding to brilliant people like Stephen Hawking or Oliver Sacks.
And that bought him a shield. It's what the files call obsequious flattery. You fund the lab, you buy the scientist's silence.
Or at least their hesitation.
Exactly. It's hard to call someone a predator when they're the reason your research even exists.
The path to wholeness. We can increase the resolution and predictive capabilities of this model by looking at systems like the tarot. The goal of understanding these archetypes, the emperor, the high priestess, the fool, isn't just to find a partner, but to find wholeness within yourself. If you don't generate this balance internally, you'll always be looking for it externally. Always looking outside for the opposite to complete you. That need is exactly what predators and manipulators look to exploit. If you don't build this, you will feel alone even in great relationships.
And that really is the big takeaway. It's not about changing who you are. It's about understanding the machine you're working with and the one sitting across the table.
Right.
Closing. We live in a world where our very biology is being mapped to predict our choices. whether it's for a date, a corporate contract, or something much, much more nefarious. The love map is real, and the best defense is self-knowledge. Grow and know thyself.
The real risk there, of course, is neurodiscrimination, only hiring one type of person.
When the real goal should be neurodiversity.
Exactly. You need the risk-taking yellow to invent the thing, the structured blue to build it to scale, the logical red to make it profitable, and the empathetic green to actually sell it to a human being.
And it's important to clarify, you're not just one thing. You're not a biological robot programmed by a single chemical. We're all a soup of these, right?
100%. It's a personality signature. It's a ratio. Everyone has all four, but usually one or two are just shouting a little louder than the others.
Before we wrap, we have to mention the quirky biological marker from the research. I feel like everyone listening is about to check their hands.
Oh, the 2D.4D ratio. Yeah, the research suggests that if your ring finger, that's the fourth digit, is longer than your index finger, it indicates higher exposure to prenatal testosterone.
Which correlates with those red, tough-minded director traits.
Often, yes. It's a fascinating little biological clue.